So when are you going to be able to eat real food again?
Welcome to Crocs in the Kitchen.
I'm Jessica.
And I am Brian.
So the holiday season is here.
Yep.
In the United States, we have Thanksgiving coming up this week, and then we'll be celebrating Christmas. Whatever holidays you guys are celebrating out there, we know that you'll have family gatherings and other kind of parties and situations that you'll be thrown into with coworkers or whoever it may be. And so around these gatherings, they're also, when you're someone who's adopted a totally new diet, like you've completely just changed your diet and started something different, people are going to ask you questions.
Mm-hmm.
So Brian came up with this idea. So explain to them what this video is.
Well, I just remember our first time in holidays when we had switched to whole food plant-based and we'd lost, a bunch of weight, but people were still just very inquisitive for the most part. And then some people were a little bit belligerent as well. But, hopefully you guys are out there and you go to a family gathering and you get questions like,
oh my gosh, you look so good. What have you been doing?
And not questions like, hey, are you still with that fat loser? That'd be me.
You are not a loser. Don't call yourself a loser. Now all the comments
I am a loser. I'm a weight loser.
Oh, all the comments are going to be, don't comment and tell Brian he's not a loser. Trust me, he has a big enough ego.
No, yeah,
he knows he's not a loser.
Yep. But odds are you're going to get some questions if you are especially new to the lifestyle or you just haven't been around some of these people for a while, so they, may not have seen you. But I was thinking that it would be nice to maybe present some of the questions that are typically asked in these types of situations and give our answer for them.
Yeah.
Because we can't really answer for you guys, but we can answer for ourselves. And so we figured that maybe us answering would be a good basis for what you guys could possibly say.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a little survival guide, a little bit of prep to, especially if this is your first holiday season, eating this way. What can you expect from the gatherings, like what we encountered and how we handled it.
Yes.
So yeah, we just thought it'd be fun to go through some questions. So Brian actually came up with the list. So let's get to it. So the first question that people will ask you, especially if you've lost a noticeable amount of weight since they last saw you, will be, what are you doing? How are you losing the weight? What is the plan?
So obviously my answer would be, I eat a whole food plant-based diet. And then the person might respond with,
what the heck is that?
So short answer is a whole food plant-based diet is a diet that consists of whole foods that are plants, that are not processed or very minimally processed. And we, don't eat a lot of things that have been, extremely gone through a factory process of
like
sorts.
Refined.
Yes, we don't do refined sugars or refined starches or oil, and we restrict certain things like salt and like that kind of stuff. So short answer is we try to eat whole foods that are plant-based.
So does that mean you're vegan?
So this one is a bit of a trickier question, and you basically have to answer it however you feel comfortable with. For me, I like to say that I eat vegan, but I am not vegan. And, for a lot of people, though, who get into the whole food plant-based lifestyle, they may have started out vegan, and then they just sort of transition to the whole food plant-based diet. But there's a lot of people who, do like a 90% whole food plant-based diet with 10% of other stuff, and that could be very much non-vegan. So just answer this question however you feel comfortable. If it's just a straightforward, yep, I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
Great, awesome.
Yep.
If it's not, then explain it however you feel.
We talked about it in our personal Q&A video a few months back, and basically for us, we don't feel like we're deserving of the title vegan because we don't like, we're not perfect and we don't stick to this 100% all the time. We do eat things that are outside of the whole food, plant-based or vegan. Vegan is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Vegan is it's not just eating a certain way. And out of respect for those people who've chosen to do this because of that, because of their ethical reasons and not just like, hey, we want to lose some weight, let's eat plants.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we did. And I will say eating this way, and I never knew or understood anything about the vegan lifestyle before I did this.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was like, okay, you have the coworker who's vegan, which I actually do. And she's awesome and I love her, but
Hi, Libby.
Hi. But yes, and you're like, oh man, how do you possibly do that? Like, I can't imagine doing that. And like, but you don't really think about it. Like, you just think, oh, she's the weird vegan person. Like, and that's how, that's my previous experience with this. And this whole thing and learning from you guys and everybody who comments and shares stuff with us, it's been eye-opening, and there's so much that we've learned. But at the end of the day, do I call myself a vegan? No. And that's just where we answer. And so when people ask us that question, we definitely, it's like, well, it's kind of complicated because people don't really know what a vegan is to begin with. And so you kind of have to give them the context and why you're saying what what you are. But just be honest.
Yep, just be honest with whatever the answer happens to be.
So this is a very, very common question. And we actually just discussed it tonight we had a little birthday gathering for Brian's dad.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Yes, happy birthday. He did inform us that we never gave him any kind of credit on our channel, even though he created this amazing man. Well,
halfway created.
I'm just saying his mother was a lot of influence on him as well. Let's be honest.
Also, the whole carrying me for 9 months.
Yes.
The giving birth to me.
Yes.
With my wide shoulders.
Yes. But either way, we've got
happy birthday, Dad.
Yes. We've gotten way off track here. What was the question? So this one really, actually, I guess isn't really a question 100%. It's just a statement that people will make. I don't think I could ever give up X product, whatever it may be.
So, yeah, you can actually. It seems difficult to give something up when, you've got it there and it's readily available and like, you're just starting out and transitioning into something different. But once you really get into it, it becomes a lot easier to be just like, no, I don't really need that, because, our core belief in all of this is that, food is supposed to be fuel, and it's not necessarily for enjoyment. But yes, we do find enjoyment in our food. But you got to remember, back at its core function, what food actually is supposed to be, and that is fuel. So it's really easy to start giving things up whenever you get into that mentality instead of thinking the old way.
And it's also, I tell people a lot, because cheese was my big thing, and giving that up was really hard. You guys have heard me talk about queso a million times on this channel. But for me, it was finding the replacements of stuff that, at the end of the day, if I put all the different queso, dips that we've tried side by side with cheese, it doesn't taste like cheese, but it gives me enough of that like flavor that I'm wanting. And I feel good about it because it's whole food, plant-based stuff, so it over time, your taste buds adjust, everything kind of changes, you get used to different things. And so I think anybody can give up anything. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I tell people is you'd be surprised how easy it can be to give up stuff once you get down the path. But Brian, you don't eat meat. Where do you get your protein?
I get my protein from lots of different sources.
Plants.
You can get protein from plants very easily if you eat beans and legumes and quinoa, and nutritional yeast is protein.
Tofu.
Tofu. Like, there are so many different sources of plant-based protein that it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's got to be more sources for plant-based protein than there are animal sources of protein. There's just simply got to be.
All the vegetables have protein in it. Yes,
yeah, they've got varying levels of amino acids, and there's some studies out there, some science that has been done that essentially proves that the body will, as long as you consume enough amino acids, your body will take what it needs and produce what it actually needs. And so it doesn't really care what the source of the protein is, so long as you're getting enough of the amino acids that your body actually needs to build stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those that people really get hung up on.
One of my friends even asked me when he was about to start his 2 weeks on potatoes. Is like, so what do you do for protein? Feel like you eat potatoes. Like,
they have protein in them.
It's like you just keep eating potatoes. Eventually, it'll balance itself out. But yes, this is like one of the top questions that we get asked a lot. Like from some family members, from friends, from colleagues and whatnot, just all over the place. You tell somebody, hey, we eat plants. They're like, well, where do you get protein from? So, yeah, it's just, we get it from plants.
Okay, that's all good and well, but what about B12? Because that only comes from animals.
Actually, that's wrong. B12 does not come from animals. B12 comes from bacteria that lives in the dirt, which is then eaten by certain animals, and then it goes into their digestive tract where the bacteria feeds off of cobalt, which the animals also eat in the environment. And then...
So you're saying I should eat dirt?
No. Let me finish this. So once it gets into the intestinal...
I'm being the person. I'm the person at the party.
yeah, I know. I got to explain this though. Once it's inside of the animal though, that's when it reproduces and stuff and then creates the B12 for the animal. But because we've depleted cobalt in the environment, generally they've got to give cobalt to animals. It's a big whole thing. Either way, pretty much the science agrees that humans should be taking B12 in some way, shape, or form, because the part of the system in your intestinal tract where the B12 bacteria lives is kind of past the point where it is absorbed, and so it's just one of those things where you should probably be taking a B12 supplement, which is what we actually do. You're looking shocked there.
So that's the really long, fancy answer. The simple answer is, yes, you need B12. Take a supplement.
Yeah. And in fact, most people should probably be taking a B12 supplement, even if they are omnivores.
Good job, though. That was a good explanation.
I liked it.
High five. Don't use his explanation, because everyone will just be like, huh?
I know, I'm a nerd. Whatever. Just tell people that they should probably be supplementing B12 anyway, even if they do eat meat.
And the grand #1 prize award-winning question that I have literally been asked is, when will you be able to eat normal food again? No. Not even normal food. Real food.
Oh, real food.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Both of those questions.
Yes, both of those questions are just amazing. I believe I put in my notes, slap them if they ask. I'm not advocating violence, obviously. But this is one of those questions that you just kind of have to scratch your head at and be like, real food? You're like, you mean all the processed stuff that I was eating before, all the prepackaged foods that I was consuming, all the stuff that I was getting at fast food places, you know, that are like a lot of times being weirdly discovered to basically be plastic in food form. I mean, that real food?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that's not real food.
Well, one of the people who asked me that, I actually asked them, I was like, well, what do you define as real food? And they said, oh, you know, like pizza and like normal stuff like that. And I was like, okay, so okay, we eat more real food than we've ever eaten before in our entire lives. Like, I've eaten more real vegetables, fruits, etc. Like, so I think people are just, like, they're so ingrained that eating is this certain way, the standard American diet, that it's like, okay, when are you going to be able to eat that stuff again? And we're not. Like, you know, we may have our cheat days, we may have our, you know, rare and appropriate. We may eat stuff that's outside of our plan at certain times and on certain occasions, but this is we're committed to this whole food plant-based lifestyle. Like we are committed to eating this way, and we know that we can't go back to eating that way because we are not going to be healthy in eating that way.
Yeah.
And we're just going to, gain weight back and binge eat and whatever. Where this kind of eating that we do now, the way that we eat now, we know that we'll be able to sustain this for a long time.
Yeah. That was a great answer.
Oh, thanks.
But I can hear all of those keyboards typing out there right now as you are watching this saying, this is all well and good, Brian and Jessica, but what are you guys doing actually for the holidays as far as food is concerned?
Yes. Because this is something I think a lot of thought goes into.
Yes.
Overthinking, which I'm the queen of overthinking.
Yep.
So I totally appreciate that. But I think there's a lot of we get questions like, what do you guys do for the holidays? Are you, do you eat the food there? Do you bring your own? Like, what do you do? So it depends. There's different situations. So obviously, you're not just, Thanksgiving is not just, we have one gathering. Like if you're married, you have your husbands, you have, you have different sides. You might have, we have, I think, at least 3 Thanksgivings that we're going to.
There was one year when we had 5.
So for tomorrow, actually it'll be today when you're watching this. If you're watching this on the day it came out, we actually are having Thanksgiving with my family a little bit early. And so for that gathering, since it's not on actual Thanksgiving, we are going to basically try to stick as much as we can to our normal diet. So we're bringing our garlicky kale salad, which was our last recipe video. In case you want to check that out, we'll link to that below. But the garlicky kale salad will be like our main dish for Brian and I. I would bring extra, but we actually brought it to another family thing with my family, and I don't think anybody really wants any of our kale based on that, which I'm not totally offended by, but we'll definitely have plenty if someone wanted to try it. But yeah, we're going to bring that as our main kind of dish. Now, for tomorrow, since it's not Thanksgiving yet, it's not like our quote-unquote rare and appropriate thing, we probably will, maybe sample a couple of the sides, maybe have a couple, just like a bite of this or a bite of that, but we will have the kale as our main, and salad as our main dish.
Yep.
Then we will have Thanksgiving Day, where we have 2 more celebrations to go to. And we've talked about it before. Penn Jillette is the one that, introduced us to the term rare and appropriate. So that is one of those occasions where, it's a one-time thing with family. It's a holiday, and we might eat, stuff that's off our plan. For me, I don't have any desire to eat any meat. I haven't missed meat at all since we started this. So it's not something that I really want. But will I have, for example, my aunt will make my grandma's stuffing recipe. And that is the one, a bite of that literally just brings back memories of my grandma and having Thanksgiving over at their house when I was a young kid. And so will I have some of that? Yeah, probably I will. And is it vegan? No, it's not. But we there's been some gatherings where we brought a vegetable tray with us to make sure that we had some vegetables to eat. We brought our hummus before. So I think it's about maybe just figure out what you want to do, and if you want to stick 100% to your whole food plant-based way of eating,
then just bring something.
Then bring stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're going to bring stuff,
make sure you bring extra, because odds are people are going to want to try and at least sample it.
Yes.
And after everybody could sample it, then you might not have anything left to eat, and then you'll just be hungry.
You'll just be sad and hungry.
So bring extra, and then if nobody does eat it, hey, you got food for later on.
Yeah. I think it was actually Brittany Giroudi who was talking about this kind of situation, and she said that she used to bring food just for herself, and everybody was so curious they wanted to eat it, and then she ended up with no food. So over time she's brought more and more stuff with her, because people are curious. All the questions that we shared, these people want to know, what are you eating? This is a good time to take a dish or two and show them this is what I eat, and it's tasty, and bring something you think they'll actually like, and maybe you're not going to convert them to eating whole food plant-based just by this one dish, but you might inspire them and maybe they'll like it.
Yeah, and maybe they'll start eating, one meal a day,
Yeah.
or spend the weekend eating some
Yeah.
whole food plant-based dishes, or at the very least vegan dishes.
They'll be open. They'll be more open to it if they try a dish that you have. Right now you're the weird person who eats the weird way, even though okay, I'm not gonna get on the tangent. But you're the weird person who eats the weird way, and so if you can show them, hey, this actually is not weird, it's actually really tasty, then that's good, and you can use this as a kind of lead by example type situation.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's tough. Everybody has to make the decision what they're gonna do. We have very not strict, but pretty strict.
I call
rules.
them hard rules.
We have our rules, and so we're able to go off on Thanksgiving and eat some stuff that's off our plan and not have a problem. I know for some people that might be a trigger to something, and it may be harder to get back on track. So maybe you do just want to bring your own stuff and eat your own stuff. And you know what? You might be afraid that your family is going to judge you. Maybe you have judgmental family. We both have really understanding and supportive families. But I know that's not the case everywhere. I've heard people tell me, people judge in your own family, unfortunately, judge you for eating this way. But if you need to stay true to what you want to do and what is going to be the best for your health. And so even if you're going to be the weird person there with their own food, it's just one meal. It's just a meal. It's, for me, the holidays are more about going to see people that you haven't seen for a while and you get together with and you talk and have a good time, and it's about family and that kind of stuff. It's not about the meal. And so we get so focused on it, and it's hard. I know there's a lot of anticipation, anxiety that goes around it. But just have a plan, stick to it, and don't overthink it.
Wow, that was great.
Oh, thanks.
I was going to say something, but then you just kept hitting all the points I would make. And, there you go. You just rounded everything nice together. You put it in a bow and packaged it and was just like, here, enjoy this.
Ta-da.
Yeah, but honestly,
Yeah.
I think we've been talking long enough.
Oh gosh, yes. This video is going to be way too long.
No, it's going to be great, and I'll edit it together, and it'll be fantastic, and hopefully you all have enjoyed this one. Please...
hopefully, wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
I want to say one more thing. Hopefully this has helped you, and you've maybe learned a few things, or maybe just kind of got you in the right frame of mind to go into that family gathering and not feel like totally awkward, out of place, and like you don't have answers for questions people are asking you.
Yes. But please give this video a like or comment down below. Actually, here's what I want you to do. If you've had some truly off-the-wall questions that have been asked of you, like, when are you going to be able to eat real food again? Please comment that below. I really, really want to know what your friends and family have asked you that's just been completely weird and off the wall about the whole food plant-based diet. But give us a comment, give us a like, and if you are so inclined, please share this out too, wherever it is that you want to share it out to. But on social media, you can find us on Facebook at Crocs in the Kitchen, that's Crocs with K, and on Instagram, also Crocs in the Kitchen. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. We greatly appreciate any and all subs that are on our channel. You guys are just amazing. And the numbers keep growing every single day, and it just keeps blowing our mind every single time we see it. But thank you so much for all of the subs that have come on there. And thank you to all you new people who are subscribing to the channel still. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. But I think that's all I got.
That's definitely all I got. I've said way too much.
Yeah, so let's get back to eating our real food. The real food. We will see you next time on Crocs in the Kitchen. Bye.